Winston Smith is the main character and protagonist in the book 1984. He was alone, misunderstood, different, and yet he thought thoughts that made him an enemy of the state. Thinking the wrong thing was dangerous. Thoughtcrime meant punishment, even if you never spoke the words out loud. It sounds extreme. Well, maybe it does sound extreme, but think about now. One tweet, one unpopular opinion, and you could be canceled, banned, or lose your job. Online mobs act like the thought police, enforcing what you can and can't say, and with that power comes great control. Orwell imagined thought crime. We created cancel culture. The tools are different, but the fear feels the same. Understanding the world we live in right now. Cancel culture is a form of mob rule. It's the digital equivalent of that old 1930s and 40s phrase, "You wouldn't want to find yourself on the wrong side of the bed." There is no due process. You don't get a trial. You don't get to defend yourself. If you're charged with an offense, the punishment follows immediately. This can happen to anyone. Some people will call it McCarthyism, but McCarthy at least gave people a chance to defend themselves. Cancel culture, no chance at all. If you end up on the wrong side of the Twitter mob, you might think to yourself, how did this happen? How do I fight back? But there is no way to fight back because cancel culture is the product of big tech collusion. It's Silicon Valley left us and most people don't understand how the system works. So let me explain it to you. First, social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, they depend upon outrage to make money. The angrier you are, the more clicks you get, the more ad revenue those companies earn. So there is an incentive to be outraged, but there is even more incentive to keep you outraged. When you're angry, you click on more stuff. So social media companies design algorithms to keep you angry. They use your own likes and retweets and comments to feed you more of the same. Pretty soon, you're living in a digital echo chamber and you only hear things that confirm what you already believe. This makes us tribal. It makes us less tolerant of other viewpoints. It makes us eager to attack anyone who disagrees with us. This is what we call confirmation bias. You know that phrase, monkey see, monkey do. Well, the opposite is also true. Human beings don't like being alone. So if you see lots of people liking something, you're more likely to like it too. Now, if you see lots of people disliking something, well, you're more likely to dislike it too. It's very powerful and it's very persuasive. It's exactly why people fall for viral hoaxes. So step 1 is getting you angry. Step 2 is getting you to click. Step 3 is making you part of a tribe. Step 4 is getting you to trust the leaders of that tribe. Now, these leaders don't necessarily have to be famous. They don't necessarily have to be influential. They just have to be willing to take advantage of the situation. Opportunists are often the worst. People who aren't famous suddenly become famous by preying on your outrage. Their stock rises, their bank accounts grow, their influence becomes great. This is how cancel culture works. And the danger is that once you're in the echo chamber, it's hard to get out. Like I said, there is no due process. There is no trial. If you're accused of something, the punishment follows immediately. This punishment can take the form of social shunning. You're called a racist or a bigot or a homophobe, and nobody wants to be around you anymore. The punishment can also come in the form of loss of work. Companies love to distance themselves from controversy. A single accusation is enough to get you fired. And in Hollywood, this usually means blacklisting. No studio will ever hire you again. The punishment can also be legal. Huge payouts, big settlements. Companies are quick to settle out of court even when there is no liability. Is this cancel culture or is this justice? Cancel culture thrives on ambiguity because ambiguity allows for mass assignment of blame. Think about it. If someone commits a crime, we assign blame to that person. Pretty straightforward. But if an entire company is guilty of racism or sexism or homophobia, you can't assign blame to just one person. Instead, you assign blame to everyone associated with that company. Customers, employees, shareholders, suppliers, contractors, partners, franchisees, they're all tainted by association. None of them are safe. Cancel culture encourages groupthink. It rewards virtue signaling. It promotes cowardice and conformity. But cancel culture isn't always obvious. Sometimes it takes the form of self-cancel culture. This is when you deliberately cripple your own business to avoid controversy. In 2017, Nike pulled an ad campaign after people complained about featuring an athlete who was accused of domestic abuse. But the real story here is not the controversy. The real story is the fact that these companies pulled the ads in the first place. What does that tell you? It tells you that companies are terrified of upsetting people. They'd rather lose money than risk offending someone. This is exactly the dynamic that Orwell described in 1984. Think about it. In order to stay in power, the government had to crush every independent source of information. They had to turn the production of news into a government function. Sound familiar? Well, if Big Brother wants total control over your news, all you have to do is look at the headlines today. Independent journalism has been canceled. Main Street media, all owned by giant corporations and billionaires or funded by the governments, all with political agendas. Let's be clear, there is nothing wrong with having a political agenda. Every human being has a political agenda. But if you hide your political agenda, if you pretend that you're neutral and objective, then you're deceiving your audience and you're no better than a propaganda machine. Big tech companies hate cancel culture. They claim to be tolerant. They claim to be open-minded. They claim to embrace diversity of thought, but they actively censor speech that goes against their worldview. If you look at the history of cancel culture, you will see that it always starts with speech. First, they come for your freedom of speech, then they come for your right to work, then they come for your right to earn a living. Next, they'll come for your right to a trial. After that, they'll come for your right to remain silent. It's time to put this in context. Back in the Soviet days, you needed a government official to knock on your door. You needed a policeman to drag you away. You needed a judge to find you guilty before you could be punished. But now, thanks to cancel culture, you don't even need to set foot in a courtroom. Your punishment follows immediately. There is no appeal. There is no way to fight back. Winston Smith, the protagonist, looked haggard, unshaven, unkempt, out of place. But that's not how people see themselves as victims of cancel culture. Most people think they look like George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, that they're beautiful, that they're talented, that they're loved by millions, but they feel alone, misunderstood, different. And that feeling of persecution is exactly what the cancel culture industry wants. It keeps us outraged. It keeps us clicking. And in the end, it fills their coffers. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Thanks for watching.